Okay, so it is Kate Pickford and Brandon Ellis, and we are talking about unputdownable stories. I am lucky enough to know Brandon in the real world as well as to know him as a writer. But I am going to pretend that I know pretty much nothing about you, Brandon,
Okay.
so that I can ask you questions, the kind of questions I would ask if someone was entirely new to me and I was trying to get a handle on what they were doing and where we should go. So tell me what genre you're writing in.
Sci-fi, actually more space opera.
Space opera. Tell people what space opera means.
Oh boy. Uh,
Because it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
okay,
So
this
you're
is
writing a
what it means
particular.
to me. I'll give
Yeah,
one quick example: Star
great.
Wars. And
Okay.
so with the space opera that I'm going to create, it's going to be kind of a mix of magic and sci-fi, but not really magic. It's going to be magic that is uh, oh, you can explain with physics type of thing, but
Okay.
using technology
Just
that
on the side of we don't quite know how to do it yet, but
exactly.
like,
Well, except
okay,
for this group of kind of Jedi or whatever you want to call them. But
right.
it's a technology that can kind of bend physics in a way, and it looks like magic to the outside universe or outside world.
Yeah, and there are some great sci-fi writers who talk about, sci-fi really is just physics we haven't uncovered yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so almost science fantasy, but with a little bit more edge towards
I'm
being
gonna
grounded
explain
in reality.
technology. I'm gonna do all that stuff.
Okay.
So it will be have sci-fi, uh, kind of also hard sci-fi elements in it.
Oh,
I write space opera, and because I really don't know the hard sci-fi elements, so I'm constantly researching. Um,
right.
and I will get
Those
to
guys are tough, man. They
yeah,
are
and so
tough.
I just I can't really I can't really honestly do that right now. So
Yeah.
um, I will be adding stuff into it that seems very or that is very real with physics and like negative matter drives. I've studied that and to see how that works and all that stuff, and I've
Okay.
added it in my other in my most recent series. So
Okay.
I know a little bit about all this stuff.
Excellent. So it's not science fantasy, but it's not hard sci-fi, but it is sci-fi space opera
Yeah,
with, what did you tell me?
was that
Knight Templar?
no Space Templars?
Oh, what are space Templars?
It's my little uh, takeoff from Knights Templars. Knight
Do
Templars.
do they have a code?
Yeah, they have a code. It's like Space Jedi, I guess, or the Jedi. Um,
Okay,
but I'll have my own Knights Templar code in it and all that stuff, and to pretty much defend the weak, the ones that can't,
great.
yeah, defend themselves,
Right.
and
So
they're
space opera usually has this like heroic element
yeah,
to it, right?
yes, yes,
Big picture hero. Usually the protagonist is somebody who is trying to save the universe in some way in a
yes,
space
yes, and
okay. So
we'll
they're going
have
to
to
have their own code.
yeah, their own code. They'll be the light of the universe, and obviously the or the protagonist will be, or the antagonist will be the dark of the universe.
Okay.
So, so
All
yes,
right. Tell me what you know about your protagonist.
I know his name.
Yeah. Tell me his name.
It's Trace Arrow. So Trace is it's his nickname. He has another name, but this is his name for the the project he's in. He's in a project called Project Blue Line, and trace means he kind of disappears, goes offline without a trace. He's that kind of he's very good at that type of thing. And
Okay.
he and arrow, that's his ammo of choice. So trace arrow, that's kind of what he's kind of bow and arrow, but it's going to be a high tech one. It's not going to be some regular bow and arrow that he'll shoot and just bounce off of somebody's armor. But yeah.
Okay. Tell me what the Blue Line Project is.
So his wife was a senator, of the Cooper, I can't say it, belt, kind of Pluto area. I have star stations around certain areas, and um, she was one of a senator around there, and he was also at a Space Templar substation, which is on Charon, which is Pluto moon. So he lives on the star station, and he's also stationed on a substation. So his wife died 2 years ago with his daughter. She was murdered.
Mm.
Uh,
Oh, she didn't just die; she was murdered.
she was murdered.
Does he know
Uh,
who murdered her?
no, he does not
Oh,
know.
good, good.
He will figure it out.
Okay.
At least I
Is
think
that part of his goal?
that's going to be part of his goal, but it's not. So he's part of this thing called Project Blue Line. So again,
Yep.
I'm pantsing it, so bear with
That's
me on
okay.
this.
This is great. Yeah.
Project Blue Line. It's a classified, pretty high up, top secret project in the Earth World Alliance. Actually, I think I changed it. United Earth Alliance, which is pretty
Okay.
much Earth, because each area of the solar system has its own alliance, and there's going to be wars and all that. But it, he's they have the Earth Alliance
Yep.
has a program. He's their first experiment with it, and it's called the Blue Line. I have a frequency that I've. It's called the Blue Line frequency.
Yeah.
Somehow the scientists, I'll figure out how. I haven't yet. Somehow
Okay.
the scientists have figured out how to attach, or how to, with their antennas, catch this blue line. It's not. Again, I'm still going over with my brain, so it might change.
Yep.
It's a line they call blue line because that's the color they see with it, and they can attach to it. They have this, like, the thing called the cocoon that somebody stands in. It's something they created. It's like a cylinder tube thing, and you stand in it, and it's got the antennas and all that stuff. And when they catch this blue line, it kind of, it, it shoots a blue beam down on the subject, and it goes to the target date. They haven't figured out how to get the target time, except for the time that the person wakes up. For the target date, it will go back in time.
So why does that matter?
Because they don't care about his wife or his daughter living, but his
Right.
wife had started a war that they want to stop. And the way that the wife started this war is, I still don't have this part. She has some top secret information. I had it in a biochip in the back of her skull, that she had this information that when she was murdered was taken out of her. And it was used against Earth Alliance and started a pretty brutal war. And
So she didn't
they're
actually
not.
start it. It was the chip in her head. The
Yeah,
knowledge that she had as a senator was used to start a war.
yeah.
So it was leaked information.
Is leaked information that she only had.
Okay.
Is confidential stuff that it was new to her, and I still haven't figured out what she was going to do with it or all that stuff. Again, I'm pantsing it. And she was, what am I saying? Again, murdered, and it was taken from her. And this started a war that the Earth Alliance is losing, like getting really beat up.
Who's the war with?
Oh gosh.
I mean, you can say anything because you can change it later.
Yeah.
But give me an idea about who they are.
I don't know yet, but let's say there is. Oh gosh. Maybe the asteroid belt, some star stations around Mars and Jupiter. The asteroid belt's in the middle of Mars and Jupiter. Maybe.
I love how you say that. Like, yeah, sure, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I and so we got those. Let's say star stations around there. Let's say they put a split in between Earth Alliance, which has star stations around Earth and also living on Earth, and also star stations around Pluto and maybe Neptune or something like that.
And is there a resource? Is that what they're fighting over? What are they fighting over? Because usually there's a
I've
resource.
got it.
Good man. Tell me.
It's not a resource. Maybe it. Let's say they found a technology from an ancient ship somewhere.
It's so you. That is so you.
Yeah, it's archaeology
No,
stuff.
it's fantastic. It's part of your brand. Embrace your brand.
So
All right. Tell me what this technology does.
Oh, great. I don't want to. So I don't want to make it a weapon. That's just too easy. What could it be? Maybe it is a weapon, and maybe that's why they're winning. That could be it. But yeah, maybe it will be a weapon. I'm thinking it'll be a weapon.
it could be a weapon, or let's just put a little pin in that, because I've got a couple of ideas based on what you've been telling me. Do you know what Trace's so he is the first person that Project Blue Line is going to zap into another time, right?
Yeah.
Do we know why they're zapping him into another time?
Yeah, well, because I put in the book so far, or in the 500 words that I've written, or book, the short story, I had that he has a special skill. He's a space Templar. I had mixed martial arts type of skill. I'm actually going to look up some other skills, and I found for Navy SEAL teams, they have, because the Space Templar would be like a Navy SEAL team,
Okay.
or mini Navy SEALs teams, and he will. There's people called assaulters.
He might have mixed martial arts, but the Space Templars are like Navy SEAL team.
Yeah,
that was the thing I heard.
And then I looked up Navy SEAls, and there's people called assaulters, and there's all these other things. But I'm looking for a specialized something that he will do that they need. I don't know what that is yet.
Okay. All right. So we've got this man. His wife and kid were murdered. I'm going to make some suggestions about that.
Okay.
The chip in the back of her head was stolen, and it had information possibly about finding this technology, which may or may not be a weapon. We don't know. It could be the weapon to end all weapons. It could be, a weapon that neutralizes other weapons as soon as it comes into contact with them. It could be, think about some kind of meta weapon that was, if the Templars are for peace.
Templars are the peace, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they want this meta weapon that can disarm anything it comes into contact with. We don't know. We don't know exactly what that is yet. I want to talk to you about his goal, his misbelief, and the obstacles. So we'll do that bit now, and then we're going to go to, because I've got some ideas for you.
Okay.
So the goal is to zap him through the blue line into this other time.
Which they do. That's the very, very beginning.
Okay. He gets zapped to where?
He's on substation. I named this cool substation name. I don't remember it, but it's a substation that's orbiting. I'm not saying the moon right. I think it's Charon or Charon. Or
why?
Of Pluto. It's a moon orbiting Pluto, and he's got to get over to the star station orbiting Pluto, where his wife is killed.
Why?
And his daughter is killed. To stop it.
To stop what?
The murder.
Oh, so they are sending him back in time. I thought you said they didn't care about his wife. So they are sending him back in time in order to prevent the murder, to prevent the technology to fall into the hands of the wrong people.
Yes, but they're caring more about the microchip that's in the back of her head than they are about her living or dying. So
in fact, they don't care whether she's dead. They care about whoever's got the chip, catching the person who's got the chip.
Yeah. But obviously the main character, Trace, wants the wife alive. So
are you going to put him in conflict with his bosses?
Yes.
Great. Good. Yeah. That was one of my thoughts. Okay. So their goal is to retrieve the chip. His goal is to save his wife and kid.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what his misbelief is?
It could be something to deal with that it has to deal with probably him not protecting his wife and child when he or do I need to go way back to when he's a kid?
Yeah, so we're looking for something fundamental that he believes about himself, that he's going to have to overcome through this story. Even in a short, it's going to be what, 10,000 words? 1,000
Yeah,
words?
yeah, yeah. 10,000 words.
Yeah, so even in something that short, you want a misbelief because he's got something internal that he has to overcome. So it has to be something that he's going to be pushing against throughout the story.
Okay, let's see here. I don't know. um, so let's just say, let's see, what would be it? His, I don't know, the basic, maybe his parents abused him when he was 2 or 3 or something like that, and uh, or just mentally. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, thought he was just a complete idiot and called him names. I don't know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's gone through life with the idea that he is unintelligent. Hence, he picked a career where he's more physical.
Mm.
But this career, actually, because Navy SEALs are extremely intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even though he doesn't think he's that intelligent, he is, because he's obviously one of these team members.
Okay. So it's some version of, because as you were talking, I was thinking, oh, wow, if he's got parents who were mentally abusive, there's some form of I'm a dumbass
Yeah.
and I want to be invisible,
Yeah.
right?
Totally what I was.
Especially as you zap him out and he is
Yeah.
invisible in a way in the beginning, right?
Yeah. And his name's
And
Trace, so he likes to
and his
be.
name is Trace. And then, eventually he's going to have to become fully present. That's going to be the whole point, is he's going to step into all of his powers and become fully present in order to save his wife.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you've got all these fantastic pieces.
Can
You've
I?
got go.
Well, can I come up with some things that might harm, like for the reader, harm the story? Is why would they choose him? Because they should just choose somebody who has no care in the world about the mother and daughter. They should choose somebody who's just, he's going to get the job done, get the microchip and all that stuff. Why would they choose him? So there's got to be something else I have to put in there that's unique to him.
Okay. Great question. Really, really good question.
So maybe there's something.
So they're already at war, right?
Yeah.
So here's my thought. Why choose him? They're already at war, right?
Yeah.
And he believes that he's kind of a dud space Templar.
Yeah.
He believes that he is going to you've got two major choices when that's your misbelief. Either you massively overcompensate or you try and fade into the background. And for this purpose, you probably, at the beginning of the war, you want him to be serially overlooked, all the other Templars to be sent out to be doing important things. So he's the dud that is left over. But I think that could be your answer. Your answer could be he has been kind of retiring all this time because he doesn't want to get noticed, because when he gets noticed, he gets reamed out. So what do you think about that? What do you think about him being the one that's left because he has been passed over again and again and again, and he hasn't been sent out on a mission until they work out that, in fact, it was his wife? I think you've got some really strong stuff here. Really. I think you've got some really, really great stuff. We didn't get to talk about who the antagonist is, but I think that probably is his bosses.
Yeah.
We don't know who the ally is, but I think that's going to be really easy to work out. It sounds like you've got a great story, a really great story in which he is set up to do one thing. They don't care about his wife. He cares about his wife. He's basically going to put in balance. It's trolleyology again, right?
Yeah.
So it's the weight of the entire universe versus my wife and kid. Who do I save? And he, at the end of it, because you're writing space opera and that's very heroic, he has to be willing to take their place, do anything, save everyone. He has to be not either or, but and.
Yeah.
So I think you've got a terrific story here, really terrific. Are you feeling that story? Because I'm feeling that story.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've had this story in my mind for over a year, I think. So I thought,
Okay,
and I started writing it as a novel, um,
right?
but I have like two other novels set up that I'm going to, or two other series that I'm gonna do before this. So I thought, well, why don't I just start it off with a short story and see if Craig Martell would like it in his anthology.
Yeah,
So so yeah,
yeah, it sounds completely kick-ass. So you've got somebody who believes that they're stupid and wants to be invisible,
yeah,
who is made invisible to go on a mission to save the Earth Alliance, and
yeah,
we need to work out what that weapon is
yeah,
and
exactly.
why it's so powerful. But I think that his bosses are going to end up being the antagonists, right?
Yes, that's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Fabulous. I think this is really good. Tell me why you're stuck. This doesn't sound stuck to me at all.
Just the opening is where I'm stuck. The hook,
Yeah.
getting people engaged in the story from the beginning.
So
I'm
literally
not
the
so
first
great at
line.
that. What was that?
So literally the first line.
Like the first paragraph, yeah. Um,
Okay. So something like trace arrow was atomized by the blue line in order to save the world.
well, geez, yeah, exactly what I was gonna write.
I mean,
That's really good.
well, you told me that. You told me that's what happens.
Why didn't I just? That's awesome.
Because we get in our own way, right? Because we get all like blah, 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 and it gets too complicated, right?
Nice
But
job.
but I that sounds like a great story. Do you want to come back in a few days and talk about where you are?
Sure. Yeah.
Can we follow you while you write this story?
Sure. Yeah.
You can say no. You can edit that out and say no. You
I
can like
just
not have that question
the
in.
only thing is uh I was just gonna do the 500 words,
Oh,
but
that's right.
I
That's
can
right.
I can keep going. Um,
It's 500 words. No, no. Well, let's see what 500 words, because it needs to be absolutely killer, right? Because that's the barrier
yeah,
to
because he's
getting
gonna
into
have
the
all
anthology.
these submissions, and he's only gonna choose I think what 20.
So is that which one is that? Is that the
I
AIS?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that one. It was that one.
Okay. Okay. Not the one that they just closed. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit!
yeah,
Is
not that one.
Evan McLaughlin is ready?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Well, if you don't mind us following along to get those 500 words being absolutely killer, I'd
Okay.
love to work with those on those 500 words with you.
Okay. Cool. Sweet.
Yeah. If you're cool with that.
So how do you want to do that? Like, do I read the 500 words when I get here?
So you decide how much you want to submit, and then we will go through it together like this
Okay.
live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I'm all for
Okay.
that.
All right. Cheers, man. Thank you for
All right.
doing this, and I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
about all the technological stuff.
Oh, no worries at all.
All right. Bye, my
All right.
dear.
Bye.